I probably won't say slow. I'll say
Okay.
data.
Alright. You good?
Yeah.
First is the free market CJS 1 neoliberal approaches to criminal justice, cause state failure, and violations of human rights, and new global politics is key to prevent extinction. There are 17 green criminology exploits state failure in environmental protection and corporate offending. Environmental harms constitute major threats to human survival yet are ignored by justice systems. Green criminology expands beyond the focus on interpersonal crimes to encompass effects of human activities on global ecosystems. Corporations have commodified water to exploit a fundamental human right enforcement action consisting of fines allow the operator to continue their business. Neoliberal markets can cause significant environmental harm that constitutes a crime against the government. There will environment the low level of prosecution for pollution illustrations is reactive policing models risk being inadequate or irreparable environmental damage may have already been caused. Addressing environmental harms requires a new global politics, and warming causes extinction is an impact multiplier Taurus. 16. Climate should take priority. These catastrophes frame our existential predicament. They raise the probability of other risks, wars, and terrorist attacks, more likely cause of global ecosystems, environmental, agricultural failures, and economic uncertainty. Deeper causes of the rising instability in Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Libya, and Ukraine. Climate change will aggravate poverty, social tensions, ineffective leadership, and weak institutions could push societies to the brink of the class conflict multipliers will define the context in which civilization confronts all other threats. Environmental degradation elevate the likelihood of nuclear war, terrorism, engineered pandemics, and an impact material to take presence over all the risk concerns and structural factors mean the next recession will devastate capitalism, oil overproduction, inflation to Muzio 117. There will be another stock market devaluation in the future caused by fear. The upcoming crisis will shake capitalism to its core. Oil prices go through the roof, and unprecedented inflation. Capitalism has a cost plus accounting system, which means there is never enough purchasing power for the outstanding prices. There is gap is structural and mathematical and cannot be covered internally. And hyper incarceration drives neoliberalism and the device we approach criminal justice with spillover to other elements of society with quant. 14. Work for and prison centers their marginal population to them toward more work trending and material solution are two sides of the same historical coin. Two facets of masculizing of the state welfare welfare programs are narrowly directed at the bottom of the class and ethnic hierarchy. Both assume recipients are guilty until proven innocent. Deterrence and stigma to achieve modification monitoring. Other wing-cast until regulation through work, fair and prison fair criminal justice are intimate by the same punitive and paternalist philosophy that just individual responsibility of the client that rely on case supervision and bureaucratic surveillance. We cannot explain hyper incarceration unless we really prison fair and work fair policies aimed at shirking the carceral state instead the likenesses of the poor and whose turnaround go toward discipline who sit the marginality at the bottom of the class and ethical order deepen broad and justice reform is urgently needed, and we don't have to resist neoliberalism in total negative action on a false economy's verbal side of pain and that to justify neoliberal exit. 12. When they claim there are no viable alternatives, they are wrong. Externalities where the public damage down undermines the sustainability of the business activity itself, speculative finance, and willingness to accept education, regulation, and collective action reduces society's ability to generate infrastructure that an economy needs. Few more regulated global capital would deliver fewer dramatic results, but we know that moderate produce both the universal dependence on investment being in periodic crisis better to accept a more modest but sustainable growth path is not abstract to meet the record. There is such to see in the existing neoliberalism pure markets find a distinct lack of internal coherence. Neoliberalism has no general advantage, only sustainability. Neoliberalism has the power of which to sustain it. Second is the advocacy plantex. The Supreme Court of the United States ought to abolish plea bargaining. In the United States criminal justice system, one plea bargaining guarantees an individualized consent and just at the lowest transaction cost for criminal adjudication, which solidifies crime control's responses to response around 14. Cheaper adjudication makes it less costly to charge fines. Offenses can be harder to prosecute because the available evidence is better in some cases than others. Prosecutors be cheaper in potential cases generated by more efficient adjudication leads to more enforcement. Too much can be detrimental. People it goes back to sentences with closely linked to new regulatory offenses. Efficiency to achieve made regulation more appealing. Efficiency enabled the legislature to expand crime and punishment into discretionary enforcement policies. Trouble case laws and a guilty plea procedure made those easier and cheaper to implement. And two, abolishing pleas upon radical imaginary for systemic change. The status was the same through fear of what our system could look like if prioritized rights over efficiency. Share 15. The system that becomes broken, the scars have been ensured as ways to make the system fair. We must fight to exonerate the innocent. The role is distant to a maxi emperor. Just wasn't know what a pot is like. Commission necessity just result the court about a rationalization for heavy plea driven of the effects of FA cases and still versus massive plea bargains. Efficiency focus as a legal person that stops welfare and guarantees the dominance of free market advice. Around 16. The U.S. is an exemplar of global market political economy. Few leads to more criminal punishment, efficiency, a singular mission, neoliberal faith, and early success in criminal procedures, extraordinary perpetuation of different civilities, leverage, property, resources, rest on immigration. That a lot is all we can do to ensure their inequities from the private realm, carrying to public education, market rationalized working against rule on arms, dedicated to fairness, driven public interest, distinct from a party interest, information, criminal adjudication, backed by shift to incentive for individual effort, criminal procedure law, makes that person continue down conditional individual skill and to rules and practice that diminish obligations for just outcomes. A lot of initiative and a good deal of self-sufficiency from the use of offering a modicum of assistance and corporations to keep funding climate, organize the legal person justifying government intervention of social harms. 17. This ideologically different attack by brute has a potential action to the new kind of litigation wars become an initiative into leading coalition suing triple efficiency standards for a wholesale appliances groups challenging executive order around reducing regulation. We expect to see this expand the administration faces a major legal barrier erected by the U.S. Supreme Court if Trump is stop regulating GHG. The institute immediately be sued to perceive could emphasize the uncertainty around projecting future common while trumpeting short-term economic benefits such as corporate profits. And third is framing the debate should center around resisting neoliberal negative organs through an epistemological dismantling of neoliberalism, hate, and Roswell No. 2. Rigorous empiricism leads to failed considered way in which globalization comes to inform public policy making. Ideas that hold ideas actors hold about the context in which they find us, which informs the way they behave. Discourse finds the way actors behave, and that really reflection of information is normative orientation. Policymakers are acting on the basis of assumption consistent with hyper-globalization serves to bring out actors consistent with the thesis of the principal discourses through which the environment comes to be. Under such globalization, the conduct of such ideas affect political dynamics and liberal concepts are repressive and unethical. Freedom of choice requires the ability to invent a new world. Subject 17 at the center of neoliberal ideologies is the idea of freedom of choice and ideology. It is the insecurity caused by defending the welfare state for a new freedom necessary today to reset the opposition of formal acts of freedom. Conferring from freedom of choice does not make any difference to the outcome. Those given freedom to freedom of choice will do the same thing as those denied liberalism, cling to fiction of the subject, immediate self-perception, and naturalizes reading for obedience, according them subject to internal psychological structure. Liberal subjects are least free in accepting what is imposed on them as nature. They are no longer aware of their subordination and acts of freedom when they subject to symbolic efficiency to truth. The truth starts to change a set of coordinates itself, and discussions about law and courts mandate consequences and just have to care about consequences and abstract theories are overly reductive, making them useless. Rao, 98. Philosophy's contribution to the law comes from its theoretical work, but practical wisdom from the main activities of a judge. Philosophy helps judges, lawyers, and judges understand causation, free will, and intention. Abstract theory can only go for so far in nature. Practical claims theory, or just philosophy, is limited application to the law and cannot account for particularities of human experience. As practical enterprise, the law must be centered to consequences. There cannot be any grand truths in the law because the Nazi truths have an overarching, do not belong in an institution concerned with reaching practical results for about particularized dispute. Ready for cross sex.
Alright, everyone ready?
Mm-hmm.
So this last card, your RAW evidence about discussion of laws and courts mandate consequentialism. Where do you warrant in your case why consequentialism is like good, or like this how we should normally understand the resolution?
Well, so the RAW evidence indicates that it's necessary for the courts and the criminal justice system to use things like consequences.
So it's just an A-spec argument?
I'm confused on what you mean by that.
So do you make any normative claims in your F? And if like you are, right? You're saying that consequentialism is
We
the way
should,
in which
yeah, we should look at the consequences.
Do you have any justifications for that besides just this one RAW argument?
The Zizek 17 card would indicate that conceptions of freedom of choice are illogical and they don't make sense.
Why does that justify consequentialism then?
Well,
That
it would
seems
justify
like a
an approach that doesn't rely on things like choice, like, for example, a deontology framework.
Alright, yeah, but that's just a preempt, right? It's not actually justifying why we care about consequentialism.
I mean, I think it would give reasons why focusing on consequences rather than like intent-based frameworks is good.
What? And what's the reason?
What's the reason?
Yeah.
The argument is that freedom of choice requires the ability to demand a new world, i.e. the ability to question the choices that you're making in the first place. For example, if you have a gun to your head and you have a choice between killing one person and killing the other person, obviously that's not an instance of free choice, but rather there's coercion going on within that.
Alright, from there, let's go on to your Crouch 12 evidence. Can you explain this verbal sleight of hand?
Yeah, sure. The Crouch 12 argument would indicate that we don't have to reject neoliberal, or we don't have to reject things like capitalism in total. Rather, our argument is just that there can be forms of like incremental reform within it that would be a good thing.
Okay, so just any incremental like reform is good?
Like, yeah.
Alright, then
Well, I mean, like, not necessarily any, like.
Alright, that's fine. On your Nurse 17 evidence about how neoliberal approaches cause state failure, human rights, and like all that jazz, can you please explain to me why capitalism, like what's the warrant in your Nurse evidence that indicates capitalism will cause extinction?
So the argument indicates that right now environmental harms are a major threat to human survival, and
So this is just an environmental harm claim?
Well, right, but our argument is that an individualized CJS that does not prioritize collective rights and well-being is what guarantees that, like, failure to prevent environmental harms. It holds individuals in counter rather than structures and systems.
So on the extinction scenario that you're referencing in your case, do you give any indication of like the time frame, like before like the end of the world, like extinction via the environment?
I mean, the evidence doesn't say a specific time, but our argument would indicate that we're already seeing effects right now, so it's urgent for the affirmative to take action right now, which is where
so
the
we're
time
already seeing
frame
effects right now. Does it give me any examples or like empirics of where we're seeing this right
Well,
now?
one, sea levels are rising, inequality is at an all-time high. There's like a list that's ongoing. Ocean acidification is rising, polar ice caps are melting.
Alright, it's fine. I'm gonna start with that. If you defend implementation, obviously.
Yeah.
2 off case.
Okay.
I didn't get it.
Hit reply all.
Hmm.
Do you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
It says it's sent to you also, right? Reply all. The email is bob.overing@yale.edu.
Oh. Yale email.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. That was the one I had. So
Yeah, I said reply all.
Why did you have that one?
from Apple Valley.
Oh, you had both. I gave you my Gmail, but then when I replied, tell me when the decision is ready to get me back in the room, I used the.
Okay.
So
That's okay. I'll just have to open up a different. Because it takes a while sometimes to forward everything to the Gmail,
I got you.
and the client that they have is bad.
Just let me know when you're ready.
Yeah. How much prep did you have?
I used a minute 11, and so I guess what that means I have 350.
What's the order?
349. 2 off case.
Okay, I'm ready.
So am I.
Alright, cool. Oxford Dictionary defines odd as used to indicate something that is probable. Odd is also used to express logical consequence, as defined by Merriam-Webster. The negativeness proof that plea bargaining will logically be abolished in status quo, and the affirmative proof that it will. Prefer my interpretation. One, reciprocity. My definition makes a burden to 100% reciprocal. Odd is moral obligation. Odd is right for natives to deny the existence of obligation or prove outside constraints, key fairness, intrinsic actions of value. 2, resolvability. 8 points that my interpret means that base focus and empirical statistical terms rather than resolvable abstract principles. B points moral framework debate is impossible. Joyce 2. Linguistic frameworks bring the new ways of talking. Philosophers have interest in the issue of adequacy. The framework itself has data numbers. The question does not make any sense. The very notion of the existence of terms in which we belong to things in language can be totally understood only within the framework. The concept cannot be meaningfully applied to the same self person who disputes whether properties exist or not, argue with the truth of a proposition, and resolvability always every round needs a winner. 3 is F ground moral knowledge is inaccessible, so they'll always listen to their own answer. Winston, no statement of fact can ever be a judgment of absolute value. Suppose you were omniscient, knew all the movements and all the bodies in the world, and had the stable the minds of all human beings that ever lived. This book would contain nothing more than we call an ethical judgment. There are no propositions which are sublime, important, or trivial, and links to philosophical education. Learn to waste all of our time and teach us pointless philosophy, and so we should focus philosophical debates around non-moral arguments. 4 real world education. My interest forces to understand the nuances, statistical trends, as well as causal tendencies. This interest debate is on how to understand predictions at incredibly specific level, because debates can only methodology comparison. General utility debates cannot solve debates just from the impact when you know only empirical proven by the complete lack of methodology comparison on the circuit right now. Offense 1 is the circumvention to set. Even if there exists a legal restriction on plea bargaining, it will still occur informally, which means it is impossible to fully abolish, and therefore you cannot prove the truth of the resolution to the United States is a landmass which cannot pass legislation if it is a legal entity, because as a unified actor cannot proceed with unified action to abolishing plea bargaining. So the resolution cannot happen. 3 because it is unclear whether the violence of plea bargaining is a non-negotiation could potentially be plea bargaining. The resolution indeterminate cannot happen. 4 sessions is publicly supported plea bargain. Also, really quickly, LogCon outweighs under their own actor specificity arguments, because specifically the government can feasibly do not what it ought to do, which is the admits it outweighs their own route argument. Also, the role of the ballot is to evaluate, is to vote for the better debater who proves the truth and falsity of the resolution. Prefer this one is you can opt out of any other role of the ballot and choose not to evaluate, whereas we're still confined to the resolution prior to coming to the round. The second argument is the resolution of the no coming to the round, which means it outweighs, because it's the most likely thing we're gonna have prep against. The third argument I'm going for is it outweighs on jurisdiction, because it outweighs on jurisdiction because it is something that is in the tournament rule books, as well as something that we're expected to come and debate at the tournament, which means that you are obligated to look for this one this role of ballot specifically. And utilitarianism is extremely false. So if I win reasons why util can never happen, you should just default to LogCon. Consequences is incoherent. 1 problem of induction takes up the AC framework. 14. And the problem of induction concerns method that predict nor can it be the principle cannot be provided to that contingent supporting the inductive argument that have been reliable in the past when debate to question by assuming what is to be proved. To prediction is impossible when the action that can dominant effect that has disastrous impact in the end. For example, 5 sees like a lunar butterfly effect which causes my seas to transform into a hurricane. 2003. Aggregate pleasures possibly with pain is incommunicable. 5 headaches and migraine can be comparisons. I don't know how it feels for you to versus me. It's the same or different meaning. Weighing consequences arbitrary. 4 consequences is resolvable because a bigger harm can always outweigh some more. There's always an odds chance of bigger harm in the future. There's no non-arbitrary point of which consequences can stop being relevant. Next off. Interpretation. The affirmative may not implement a policy. Violation. They implement a policy. I asked them cross-examination. They said to do so. Now standard. One semantics. Ought to be entails a general evaluation without an action or imperative. To clarify, the affirmative must have been ought to be as a value judgment, not implemented policy option. Robinson 71. Many ought sentences express valuation. Everybody ought to be happy. This is not a prescription to anybody to act. The sentence expresses evaluation. Evaluation is distinct from a prescription through not description. The ought is followed by non-doing infinitive as ought to be. And implementation collapses back into question. Evaluation is a judgment of what ought to be the case, not commanded the agent to act. Robinson 71. There ought to be minimum wage can perhaps be interpreted as a command to Parliament. What they say ought to exist is often something that cannot be brought into existence by passage of law, and semantics outweigh 8-point ground. The topicality rule outweighs guaranteed abusive semantic on topical interpretation outweighs its speculative fairness and educational gains. Merrill 15. Even if altering the topic can provide access to preferable ground, doesn't mean it's not material as a debate on topical ground and education that one team can seek cannot be used in the current debate because the issue topic deserves to be the entire focus of the round. Immediate and guaranteed abuse occurs as a result of reinterpreting the topic as ways by speculative benefits. B point is jurisdiction around being to the resolution not following a preset resolution burdening the judge cannot vote for the absence of literally not enough constraint any accurate judge decision means jurisdiction is an independent voter like constraints all pragmatic justifications also topical over you have to defend your cap out without implementation solves all the abuse on enough for the voters one fairness and every argument advance assumes the judge will value the B point committed to request fairness accurately evaluate who to the better debating second is education debates academic activities so relevant and competition intrinsically educational third debate on T point dropping argument moves evidence and offensive and since it's relative the one is students to drop them and said B point deters future abuse since they can't get away with the practices for competing interpretation D point is versus competing interpretation class competing in terms and justifies a counter interp, i.e. it is reasonable for me to do X, B incentivizes intervention. If they say Broadline solves it, proves that Broadline is competing interps, not require a reasonability paradigm. 5, no reveals in the specific show A point R interp says they artificially win substance, they mainly focus the preempting C. They've been debating this debate, and we have twice as much prep on us, and they did not go for a perpetual times out the point you shouldn't win for proving your topical since it's necessary and sufficient burden to affirm with specific affirmative in the first place. Now on to case. The environment is improving right now. Reject other alarmist scenarios. Lomberg 11. Climate alarmists and campaigning environmentalists argue that unless we change our ways and soon doomed and we erect the world, we're gobbling up the last resources, killing plants, and almost destroying those on later in the world humanity. It's doomed as a compelling story. No doubt it's fundamentally wrong. We have consistently underestimated our capacity for innovation. Won't be catastrophic. It won't be a catastrophe. Have been regularly pursued against all of human history. In fact, by most any measure of a legacy, increased opportunity, distance, and available production per capita increased eightfold between 1800 and 2000. The world has specifically become a much better educated place. Literacy in the developing world has fallen in recent decades. Our quality in wealthy countries have vastly improved in virtually every developed country. The air is more breathable and the water is more drinkable. In the 1930s, 1940s, London was more polluted than Beijing, New Delhi, or Mexico City are today. Developed countries gradually will be able to clean the environment. Pollution levels in Mexico City have been dropping for us. Two are regrowing for too often. We exaggerate the impact of technology for arguing with the imaginary difference in biblical proposition for our evidence over their evidence specifically because it's making direct comparison and it is making a direct comparison actually referencing historical trends that over the past 200 years or the last 20 years, whereas their card never actually referenced any of these things. They just vaguely asserted in cross-examination. But even then, if you buy their argument is that the argument is that we will continue to innovate to solve for the impact, the environmental impact they've identified, and a free market is key to disease cures. Jackson 16. ABR is occurring at alarming rates and now the development of countermeasures that have been sharply declining the development of new antibiotic. Return on investment developing is too lonely. She incentive the free market that impedes the development of the market do what it does, returning the opinions held ensuring innovative companies to create the jobs of incentives are in the place of treatments will follow, and pandemics and civilization, no burnout. Kershaw 14. A pathogen quickly might not have time to spread. This is not always valid. We've been violence can evolve historical pandemics are devastating effect and which makes a global pandemic threat to human civilization and independently profit motive keys to effective resource management. That's Farmers 15. Businesses that develop solutions to burden resource problems will end up being profitable companies that provide effective solutions to burden resources will accelerate their own economic self-interest. These investments will have a positive impact on global resource scarcity. Agriculture doesn't monitor soil conditions. Irrigation delivers water only more efficient, distributing energy in the suppliers. They make less cars use gas, and only capitalism is empowered and rebuild infrastructure across the planet. And ineffective resource management degrades public health, kills global air quality, and causes tension over water scarcity in South Asia, culminates in extinction. Thompson 13. Air pollution contributed 1.2 million premature deaths in China. The major source of emissions from cars in China is a major source of pollution in Asia's per capita freshwater availability. The half of global average China is polluting limited resources in the alarming rate. China controls water supply to 13 countries now, but they refuse to sign treaties or cooperate. In other countries, that water issue will have devastating consequences for the region. Water scarcity, adverse domestic health effects, darkening China's future pollution-related illnesses are soaring. If it continues ravaging environment, we've been able to secure your health and prosperity to avoid a global disaster and causes India-China war. Williams 13. Keeping borders separate from the water is unlikely. Trying to use water as a tool to pressure and separating this complicated in the supplying water, which both claim China estimated to claim 200 million feet of water resources and cut the card there. And yeah, I'm out of time.
Okay, can we send it in cross-section?
Yeah.
I'll start cross-sectioning it though.
Alright.
Okay, you good?
Let me know when you're ready. Yeah.
Okay. The induction arguments, how do you know induction will always fail?
What do you mean? So it's just making like a descriptive claim of the world, right?
Right, but how do you know it's going to fail in the future?
Because that's just how induction operates. It will always
So
fail.
are you like inducing that induction is going to fail? That seems one.
Am I
circular.
inducing it? I mean, obviously, you can make an argument along those lines, but I would say that no matter when you try to induct something, you will always run into the problem.
Okay, sure, that's fine. Let's go to the first off. Your argument ought is the logical consequence. Okay, how is the affirmative not met their burden under that?
Because you're not proving that the criminal justice system will abolish plea bargaining. You're saying that like it would be moral if they did so, right? You'd have to like stand up and read empirics or claims showing how how the current trends in society are showing that we're going to get rid of plea bargaining, or how like Sessions is saying we have to get rid of plea bargaining.
Wait,
or,
no, but how do I not prove that like Okay, stop. I'll see you the
You have 415 used.
yeah. Okay, the order is going to be T, then the case, then the NC.
T case.
Alright. Okay.
Counterinterpret the evidence and hypothetical implementation of before clone from our school floor. The clone should use the formal method where result of this composition the mirror Boston requires using the line fiat Arcos 90. As you watch the case philosophy is regular organizations that be necessary legally and introduction constitutional adoption from the effect of some approach introduction one for interpretation one for the mechanism of debate matter that gives the feasibility of abolition core class interventions any criminal norms of the key negative consideration of the evidence that is the evidence express their character and that is made preparation and the able to descend from most education with right person to then continue to because there is one of the main reasons that the portability but the find not possible but in the word of the sports people such like the trying to fill out the results of mechanics of the lead critical places there is major matter for negative the one saver is the other stuff the right or something you probably would do exception the other 17 resolution proof that this is another just need to make observation numerous other words indicate we should be using the executed resolution and the document will indicate no will the child that the definition well the consideration with the difference between the written with other so we need to document should go away also don't look at look at look at pragmatic services that it's not with the topic it's not with the people determining the sequence about a date rather they choose things will let go have the most equitable balance of boundaries with our interpretation and our interpretation is most correct most specific I think their interpretation would become overly detailed because it would only be about things are because would become really sad about the case you'll please some of the depending on the data actually the entire evaluation distinction and create prosecution case that's there's a bit of the image these three drawing math are really things might be black people jelly she's using about ways the information case solving elements even if it's good everything but let's not physical set of opportunities for accommodate who can and the information always all their advantages how change to convert the gifts into impact multiplier experiences lately even if we're talking about all the things for resource or resource for the center are pretty accurate things that point we can get working that there's a person also original all their impact on the something this is the computing stress solution warming etc making this system look evidence comes from corporations when there evidence comes from corporations or organizations who have a small focus on increasing the finances with the that argue the truth from the evidence with that means that their evidence is all which means that their evidence is constructed for purposes that are not actually just deal with just the difference between the local thing and the medium of the deal with benefits to healthy access to the benefits of living for me is not that also you need is to make you need capitalism is happening now because the of the accuracy. Only when given an option to give the opportunity to the NC. First, they say that persistence to relies on non-predictable circular issue that we can use to the most possible results are all are consistent that we rely on things like utilitarian, which is not what we are, rather we just say yet consequences pertaining to neoliberalism would be bad, we should focus on harms, we should focus on harms that we don't say, we should extinction for the situation is something that they which is all that we do up, they say that aggregation is possible, no experience is not utilitarian, this is that they're interaction with our commercial choices, and neoliberalism result which you need to get with withdrawal, it's not about necessarily something to say that there's an infinite universe, no, or to look at approximate within the CJ to have some things that would be back people within the entity proper, one of the bargaining and she has the policies desirable, then it would disapprove it is desirable, depending on the policies this is the involves a bit of a pragmatic analysis, we just tell me to something else. And it will not be always when you say that me to against the working the Americans of the definitions of less of relations what we're also press. Most of the no opposite result of even and get me that we cause for some result. We might be after divisions that are actually the father of the playing secret of the lawful.
What was the eighth one?
True testing forces us into extremist philosophical stances no understanding. I should read the document.
I was really forced us into extremist. Okay, what came after fairness? Yes, I have debating pulse is beneficial. Fairness is key debate. What was your next one?
After which one? Sorry.
After debating pulse is beneficial and fairness is key debate.
Well, so like option or do you mean through context is good?
Well, what was your last argument of fairness?
It was if we win this, then NC doesn't negate. We don't have to win the rest of this command. We should just set the plan as a good thing.
Why is that true?
Well, why is that true? Because it would mean that it's not a debate over the way that the resolution is worded and proving that it's true, but rather it's about the differing roles between the affirmative and the negative.
Did you, on the logcon, did you have any stuff for comparative world that was not on the doc?
No, it should all be the
Okay. What was your argument against semantics on the T-shell?
The argument was that first is that framers' intent is not related to the topic, it's based on division of ground. We agree pragmatic should come first. The second was that the odd definition of the law conjugacy apply and this is that like other words would prove it's true. And then there was also that like it creates a stale model of debate, so you should look at pragmatic.
Alright, do you have any definite reasons to reject the one in effect in reading the document?
I don't know what that means.
Like, you didn't read
It's not like reading an impact T now.
Okay, so like, yeah. What do you have that interacts with logcon that's not only logcon flow? Like, can you make
Like all the stuff on the case flow about like fill and like conversations are possible.
Alright, yeah. Alright, nothing from the T-flow though?
No.
Alright, cool. So then on the, what's this argument you're making on, after the, so on useful false after diggers, you say, this, you cross-biasing from the app to resolve other arguments. What's that argument?
I'm sorry, which one?
You cross-biasing from the app that this resolves other util arguments.
Oh, that our framework is about resistance to neoliberalism, so it's just about impacts. Which I think that doesn't require things like aggregation. It's not.
Which response to always change for bigger impact? What's the argument?
Our argument is not utilitarianism, so it doesn't matter, and that is focusing on like proximal causes to people.
counter definition of ought?
Yeah, I did.
Where?
Ought means used to express obligation according to the professor.
What were the reasons to prefer it?
Your definition is the last one, so for ours is the most likely the rest, so it'd be the top one on where you must do.
Anything else? It's going to be the log competency, and then just some of the impact case. Cool. Is everyone not ready?
I'm not ready.
Alright.
Is there a talk? Okay. Yeah, I'm good.
Did you say you sent a 1-error doc?
I did. Do you want me to check if I reply?
Can you just forward to Bob over your Gmail?
Yeah, sorry about that. So maybe smooth that too. You, like what, which email? Remember to
Bob over at Gmail.
Yeah. Okay, it's forwarded.
Got it. Thank you. Okay.
You good?
Yes.
Alright, cool. It's going to start kind of like with an overview. Overview is based on reasons by distribution through testing as well as reasons by the law consequences by the actual amount of use testing is sufficient to negate because all their affirmative arguments are premised upon implementations of plan making a moral society saying this would be a good moral thing by capital as the logical consequence of the resolution would actually occur in the real world abuse of the current trajectory is by open the law consequences you can feel pretty getting a negative record to for me they have dropped the jurisdiction voted that ran on the T-show as well as this specific show asked them specifically everything that implicates you can leverage the T-show over here they can test jurisdiction they do not command F in the documents read they have no jurisdiction that said nothing not anything specifically law consequences they can see that jurisdiction is the highest concern because of constraints all of the pragmatic separation that you know without it where it's to judge who care about jurisdiction about when the jury tries to about why true testing matters then that can also just leverage on the maybe some sort of true testing today preferred truth rule about they consider that always on jurisdiction because of the things that the because rules that they read and follow the resolution that the judge has an obligation to follow what the resolution is and is not an argument test the specific that I just wrote to try to go for pragmatic considerations about why the pragmatic considerations about why comparative rules instead of the rest are just fine reasons why they're good for a jurisdiction but as far as the highest layer of making people very insufficient voting on because of criminal on all the responses on there all the responses on the rule all the responses on the ballot They speak about the ministry of after they said that truth is important to human philosophical things that don't actually fit however they conceded it and they made the section you can see the George 2 evidence I have George 2 evidence it's a moral it's impossible to have a moral from because there's some sort of objective position to understand perspective of single person understand what would be moral for the testament which obviously is incoherent is argument that was constrained from looking for their own framework their own justification is going to be possible whereas the issue there is things like the interesting testing forces is doing extremely philosophical senses even if that's true it's not going to be no philosophical sense it should be and they made it be obviously that worthy because it's impossible to have the philosophical under specific world and there's no more probably possible to experience philosophical this law conception of law for the time of the name that was for the how you can read and about anything making on an odd statement how you can read the one place money on morality does not exist on the red like there one more which I about morality also this name for not even it's not doing also somebody other not even the also in the jurisdiction made as well as the fact that the things that results that are forces that made on appear to most reciprocal and urban with the ministry of finance it's a word for meaning reason why we really move a result of it's how we under fairness on their argument specific for how we generate meaning through the topic generation meaning through the class specific basic testing allow us to take for some of the same consistencies that are without ever engaging in the topic but not even engaging in the topic so what was is true I what people read on a case it's the same case and plays all the time any comparative rules seems that it's not unique at least but we all know at least for agriculture and farmers to learn about the debate and learn about different trends. There's a new topic you want to read the same log content and see that you go and research on that specific topic. How so many individuals that takes my starting so very much practical. So why are the best? I'm like the reason why I for our definition on why for our definition on interesting. So they only had one reason why for the learning about the definition instead of because it comes from self-notion and evaluating they've conceded two definitions that show about the issue that ought that show the definition about the definition about is that should not definition about is reasonableness of we know what it is for two definitions over one definition they pointed that I saw in Mary one definition which is that becoming a first started on matter the fact that I provided two definitions proves that it's the most consistent in the literature as well as the most a lot of this definition is multiple dictionaries or particular they only prove the dictionary this definition is that as far as that they're both from Merriam-Webster, there's no way our reason why that first specifically second or third to key on this specific issue to see with a common usage and never know a common usage of the multiple different sources that show that they come on does but even then even the jurisdiction is the highest thing that we're carrying on. I can so much reasons about why because I'm definitely like the size of the money becomes unfair to use for definition of valuation. And on our side, it's not that fairness is no longer a concern as far as they can see the reasons are joint evidence that it's possible to have any sort of debate under their resolution because there's no such thing as an objective understanding around them or outside of since that's never common. You know, the fairness is the link between jurisdictions going to be if you can just bolster the reason why you can understanding using our specific definition of God and around the easy hack like the reasons like the confidence. They never actually contest any of the law definition. I'm just going for the very first argument, which is the circumvention argument about how even if you're abolish all of the argument will still occur in the status quo if you focus on about it. And we will continue to study these things like bargaining in the area, which is impossible. I'm very grateful for the fact that the U.S. did not exist as a landmass, which is a little impossible to do than to abolish the argument terms. I think I'm sure that we never actually good. Actually, they're saying good. I'm going to go really quickly on the AC flow. Okay. The speech all over empirical, all over people, all these states, these are from like neoliberal institutions, those are not a little bit of first neoliberal investment, calling your response about why that's saying neoliberal institutions, they're weighing about how this proves that current trajectories mean that we will no longer have a right of death or from extinction, environmental issues, just new checks, because it's like the new motivation is going to check on cheats, and that means that you can actually impact your capitalism. Under any of the other factors of pressure, engage on say for the fact you are conceded that the free market is key to solve disease. They prove to the tax 16 evidence. You also can see that candidates will benefit in all civilization. You will put impact benefits on these numbers might be biased where you've conceded according to a non-neoliberal source of why there's no distinction. Where the case and then the IC. Is everyone good?
No.
Case and Nancy.
Are you good?
No.
Okay, let me know it.
You should vote affirmative to deconstruct the efficiency mindset within the CGS instead of court precedent for collective right, which enables the court precedent to check Donald Trump warring policies. We saw extinction. There are